So my intention today was to film this video outside, but it's pretty windy and I don't want the audio to be really annoying. So I'm gonna run inside and film this video, but you can see I have all of my Boundary Waters gear laid out right now, and I'm gonna go through each item and tell you a little bit about it. I found that I actually can film outside. I've just found the spot that's a little more tucked away from the wind than it is over by where I have everything set up. The first thing I have is a canoe paddle. Of course, you're going to need a canoe paddle for your canoe trip into the Boundary Waters. You also need your life jacket. It's important to know what size life jacket and paddle are best for you, and you can look that up online. Something about canoe paddles is that I often bring an extra canoe paddle when going into the Boundary Waters because they do break. When you're going into the Boundary Waters, you want a sleeping bag that is at least rated down to 30 degrees. In my experience going into the Boundary Waters, even in the middle of summer, you're gonna want something that is down to 30 degrees because it does get a little bit chilly. This one that I have here is the Hike and Bike 32 degree sleeping bag. I got this one because it is pretty compact. A lot of sleeping bags that you find, especially that are warmer sleeping bags, they're going to be big and clunky. So I find that I prefer the smaller ones. With a canoe you have a little bit more space than if you're backpacking, but I still like to find compact things because it does make it a little bit easier when you're portaging and moving your things around. My tent, on the other hand, is not compact. I have not invested into a super compact tent because I found that this one that I have currently works just fine, and I'm all about use what you have. Don't necessarily have to spend $1 billion on your gear. If what you have works, then use it. And if I do invest in a tent in the future, I would try to go for something a little bit more compact and light than this one. But so far, this one has worked just fine. This is a Great Land backpacking tent, 2 to 3 person. I find that 2 people is really the most comfortable in here, although I have had 3 people in this tent before just fine. With your tent, you are going to want a rain fly on top. Make sure that you have a rain fly because if it rains, you don't want everything to be wet while you're out in the wilderness. If you're going into the Boundary Waters, you're probably going to want a sleeping pad. This is just going to give you a little bit of cushion and keep you up off the ground just a little bit. It's a little bit nicer on your body. Mine, again, is a large one. You can get them that are about half the size and more compact. I'm a little bit picky because my back does tend to bother me a little bit more, so you can find compact ones that are just as good for your back, but you kind of want to shop around and know your body and find what's best for you. I'm gonna go get more stuff. So what else do I pack when I go into the Boundary Waters? I like to bring 2 pairs of shoes, one pair that I know is gonna get wet and one pair that I want to keep dry. These are my dry shoes. I just got these. They are Keen's hiking boots. I like the taller ankle ones for more ankle support. If you want to go super light, the ankle ones I find are not always necessary, but that's what I prefer. I just got these ones, so I haven't really broke them in and can't give a great recommendation on this specific pair, but I did just retire a pair of Keen hiking boots that I had for over 5 years, and those ones served me well and lasted a really long time, so hopefully these ones can live up to the standard of the last pair. There are lots of different options you can do for wet shoes. They don't have to be sandals. You can do tennis shoes as well. Sometimes if you are walking through a river or something like that, you want something more like a tennis shoe to be a little bit more sturdy. I really like to bring sandals. This year I am going to bring these babies. I think they are so pretty. They're Jambu, and not that they have to be pretty for the Boundary Waters, but I really like these. I have not worn them in the Boundary Waters yet, so we will see how they go. They've got really supportive bottoms, so I know they look just like pretty street shoes, but really they are a little bit more geared up for the outdoors than that. I've worn them hiking quite a bit, and I know they don't look like your typical hiking sandals, but I will keep you updated on how that goes. I really think these are going to be awesome. The clothes that I'm going to wear when I go into the Boundary Waters, I'm going to be wearing some sunglasses. I'm not a super big hat person, but I know a lot of people like to wear hats to keep the sun more off of their face. I might bring my round brimmed hat that I got this summer from a friend into the Boundary Waters and see if that works for me, but in the past I really just haven't been a huge hat person. The clothing that I'm going to wear entering the Boundary Waters, I am going to do a long sleeve to protect myself from the sun a little bit. I am not the camper that wants to get tan. I want to be hidden from the sun. I don't like getting burnt out in the wilderness. But I do have this long sleeve. It's lightweight. This one is a Columbia brand and it's just really pretty. And I got that used in Duluth at the Great Lakes Gear Exchange. If you're looking for good prices on items that you're going to use for the outdoors, they're a great place to go, and I'm not affiliated with them. That's just where I got that from. I am also going to wear long pants into the Boundary Waters on day 1. and that is to protect my ankles and my legs. Again, while you're paddling, a lot of times the tops of your legs will be burnt from the sun, so that's going to protect me from bugs and sun a little bit as well. I also bring some pajamas and some shorts. I will also bring a stocking cap and mittens to keep myself warm, and then a sweatshirt to be a little bit warmer if I want to add a layer to my clothing. In case of rain, I do bring a rain suit. I bring rain pants as well as a rain jacket. The rain jacket that I have, I really like this guy. It's a little bit warm for summer use, but I find that when it's raining I tend to be cold. I get cold easily, so this is the perfect one for me. If you're the kind of person that runs warm and you don't want to be overheated, then maybe get something a little more light and breathable. This is more of that thick raincoat material, and I use this almost year round. Make sure you're getting a product that is best for your own body. Along with the rain jacket, I also have these rain pants. I like these because they have a zipper at the bottom so that they can go over your hiking boots really easily. You can slip them on and off while you're out and about. Mine are a little bit large for me, but that's how I like it. Again, so it's just easier to get on and off. So if you're gonna bring some rain pants, then those are my suggestions. I love reading in the Boundary Waters. Oftentimes I bring a book and a journal and even some colored pencils for relaxed time. I'm currently reading Gunflint Burning, which is about a forest fire that started just outside of the Boundary Waters. I also bring a hammock. I have an Eno, however you say that, double hammock, which is for 2 people. So it's really nice if you're by yourself, you have a lot of extra space, and also you can have 2 people in it as well. I really enjoy the night sky in the Boundary Waters, but sometimes you do need lights. So this is my headlamp that I also got recently from the Great Lakes Gear Exchange, so shout out to them again. And then I also have this Lucy light that is one of those that you can inflate, and it charges in the sun, so it's solar powered. That's not inflated, but if you haven't seen these before, these are great. They're solar powered lights that last quite a bit of time. I hate mosquitoes. I really hate mosquitoes, and so I have this thermocell that you kind of wear, keep on you, and it burns butane. If you want some good insect repellent, this is my favorite stuff. I actually learned about this when I was in the Peace Corps. This is what they gave us to keep the mosquitoes off of us in Madagascar, and it is Peaceful Sleep Insect Repellent Stick, and you like open it up and you rub it on your skin, and it smells very strong, but it really does work. So if you're looking for an awesome insect repellent, that's my favorite. I have some toiletries here. I like to bring toilet paper. Some people like to just use that broadleaf aspen and go natural all out. I need my comfort. I also bring my toothpaste and toothbrush. Also bring your feminine products. You can bring tampons, pads. Some people like to use Diva cups. If you have specific questions about getting your period in the Boundary Waters and what to do with your tampon wrappers and things like that, they don't go in the latrine, let me know in the comments and I will send some tips your way. Something else I always just bring into the Boundary Waters is this is kind of like paracord. Any kind of paracord or small rope is awesome because I like to hang up things when they get wet. Everything from my life jacket to wet clothing to towels and things like that. Sometimes I've even had to hang up my sleeping bag that got wet, unfortunately. So having something to tie up and hang your things over is really nice. Also, I sometimes bring a rain tarp, so then this is something that you could use to tie the rain tarp up, which is just like a rain fly thing that goes up in camp so you can sit under it if it rains. I always bring some extra rope. It can be very useful. 2 things that I don't have here today with me that I always bring into the Boundary Waters, but so far I've been lucky enough to have friends who let me borrow their things, is my axe and saw for cutting up small downed branches that you're going to use to burn to make a fire, and then also a first aid kit. I purposefully didn't gather those items for this video because I wanted to make a point to point out that you don't have to have everything for your first Boundary Waters trip, for your first camping trip. If you don't have a sleeping bag, if you don't have a tent, then there are probably people that you know who you can borrow it from, and if there aren't people that you know that you can borrow those things from, then you can go to places and you can actually rent gear. You can go to Outfitters, you can even go to REI if you're a member there. The last thing I want is for this video to be limiting people and making people think that, oh, I need the small sleeping bag, I need the tent and the thermocell mosquito repellent thing. You know, I mean, when I first went into the Boundary Waters, I wore a school backpack with some clothes in it, some jeans, and some tennis shoes, and that's what I had. You can use what you have. These are just things that are going to make your life a little bit easier, and I'm trying to give some tips if you're looking to get more things, but specifics are not important. You know, you need the basics. The Boundary Waters doesn't have a kitchen, so you kind of have to bring your own stuff. This right here is a bear barrel, so you put your food inside of it and you close the lid, and then a bear can't eat your food. So that's what this is. I like to bring that option. If you don't have a bear barrel, you can just throw your food in any kind of backpack and then use a rope to tie it up in a tree so that a bear can't get at it. We don't want bears to be eating our food. It's not healthy for them, and it's bad, unhealthy behaviors for the bears and for future campers. I have this mess kit here. A mess kit is just, you know, a food kit. I actually haven't used this yet. It's super lightweight, so that's why I'm going to use this one. But I have a plate here, a little cup for coffee and things like that, and then a little pot that I can put on the camp stove and cook in, and then a little pan here as well. You can tighten up that screw and use this as a pan. As far as mess kits go for camping, you can end up spending a ton of money on them. Really, you just need something basic. If you don't have anything to use, go to your home cupboards, take one plate, one bowl, one cup, and some silverware, and then bring a pot and a pan. So my cooking setup is going to be this MSR, this isopropyl with this attachment. This attachment you put right on here. Actually, I had it upside down. You open these babies up, and then you just put your pot right on top of that, and that's your stove. Oftentimes in the Boundary Waters during midsummer, fires are not allowed because of the risk of forest fire. So these babies are going to allow you to cook quickly and easily, even in a fire ban. Honestly, even when there's not a fire ban, these guys are really nice. For some reason, I can't get it back in. So this is just my utensil thing. I have this little wrapped up thing with some utensils in it for cooking and eating, and my friend actually made me this, thanks Janie. So that's just my utensils. In order to start your fire, don't forget to bring a match box or a lighter. If you're gonna bring matches, probably don't just bring a book of matches like this in case they get wet. You're gonna want waterproof ones. Lighters too, sometimes they get wet and they don't work for a while, so make sure you're keeping these things dry. Sunscreen, always wear sunscreen. I don't think we want to be going and getting skin cancer in the Boundary Waters. Also, I bring soap. I have this biodegradable soap, and even though it's biodegradable, we want to keep it away from the lakes, right? Because even biodegradable pollutes the lakes. I have this cutting board for the Boundary Waters so that we can cut up stuff. And I like to bring a towel for drying things, especially dishes, and then a little rag to wash things with. You can just use your hands, but I'm bougie. This is my portage pack. It doesn't go on the front, obviously, it goes on the back. I'll show you. And surprisingly, pretty much everything that I showed you fits in here. Obviously not the bear barrel, and I don't put the paddle or the life jacket in here. But all of my stuff will fit into this portage pack. I have a Duluth pack, but there are lots of different brands that work just fine. And this is a canvas and leather pack, so I have a liner on the inside that you put all of your things in to keep them from getting wet while you're portaging and canoeing. This is a Duluth #2 pack, so they have different sizes, and that's just what I have. Honestly, I probably could use a little bit bigger one, but I tried to limit the size so that I don't hurt my back, because again, I have a sensitive back. And then the last thing is my canoe. Obviously, I bring my canoe. In the past, I've borrowed and rented canoes for the Boundary Waters, and I finally have my own canoe, so that's really exciting. And I had to put it in the video. It's my pretty white canoe, and I haven't named it yet, so if you guys want to name my canoe, that'd be great. Put the name in the comments and I'll pick one.